It's very rare that a team can go from missing the playoffs in one season to becoming a team capable of winning the conference the next year. But the 2021-22 Golden State Warriors have a chance to do just that. To me, they have one of the largest ceiling/floor discrepancies in the NBA, as I can see them being anything from a middle of the pack playoff team to being the best team in the West. In this video, I'm going to go over their roster, how good I expect them to be offensively and defensively, questions I have for them, their X factor, and give a general prediction on how good I expect them to be next year. In the 2020-21 season, the Warriors ranked 20th in the league in offensive rating, as they didn't have a true high-level secondary creator on the perimeter who could collapse the defense, and their spacing was pretty mediocre aside from Steph. However, they still had an offensive rating of 115.2 last year when Steph was in the game, which is a mark that would have been good enough for 10th best in the league despite the poor roster construction around him. To put that in perspective, Steph was essentially the difference between the Warriors playing like the 10th best offense in the league and the Warriors playing like the 29th best offense, as their offensive rating of 104.9 would have been 29th. With that in mind, we already have years of statistical evidence suggesting that Steph is an elite offensive engine that can both raise the floor and the ceiling of an offense. With better health around him this year and some roster tweaks, I believe that led by him, they will be top 10 in offensive rating again. Klay Thompson, at his worst offensively, is still an all-time floor spacer, which massively improves any offense, and he's also very adept at attacking closeouts when overplayed. At his best, he combines all-time shooting with extremely underrated shot creation and a skill no non-Steph Warrior possessed last year that is extremely crucial in the playoffs. He has the ability to force a double team, whether it's in the post, and he also attracts extra attention due to his shooting gravity. The addition of Otto Porter Jr. is also one of the most underrated offseason acquisitions, as I predict he will also be one of the most impactful offseason acquisitions. He's one of the best catch-and-shoot shooters in the league, as he's routinely been around 40% or above at shooting catch-and-shoot threes, and he has enough self-creation skills to take advantage of specific defensive matchups depending on who he shares the court with offensively. To me, the Warriors are locked to be a top 10 offense, and they'll likely finish closer to 5 than 10. They have the combination of skilled self-creators like Steph, Klay, and Jordan Poole, nice complementary fours that can fit into a system like Juan Toscano-Anderson, Andrew Wiggins, and Andre Iguodala, and rim-running bigs that can fill space without the ball and set good screens for their lead creators and off-ball weapons. There are very few teams, if any, better equipped to defend in the postseason than the Warriors. They have the rare blend of personnel and scheme that allows them to be extremely versatile and good in the regular season, while also being able to take it up a tier defensively in the playoffs. Draymond Green is the anchor of this Warriors defense, as he's at worst a top 3 defender in the NBA, and his ability to guard the perimeter, defend the post, and protect the rim has helped revolutionize modern defensive basketball, as it's almost impossible to have an elite playoff defense in today's NBA without a big that can do those 3 things at an extremely high level. Last year, the Warriors finished top 5 in defensive rating in the regular season, and they've still managed to improve on that end, with the additions of Iggy and Otto Porter Jr., who have ideal length and agility to play multiple roles in the switching scheme. Although he was recently waived, there have been reports that the Warriors may bring back Gary Payton II for their 15th roster spot. I'm not sure how much he would play if he's brought back, but he's already an all-defensive caliber guard that can be a very good matchup-based player if the situation calls on him to play spot minutes against elite perimeter talents. We've already seen players with similar archetypes like Bruce Brown and Terrence Mann be high-level contributors for contenders with their defensive versatilities and have their offensive limitations hidden by elite spacing. I don't see why in the right situation Gary Payton II can't have a similar impact with this Warriors team. The Warriors' combination of length that can impact offenses at all 3 levels, defensive IQ, and a proven championship-level defensive system makes them a defense that is perfectly built for playoff success and makes them one of the best defenses in the league. While the Warriors do have a lot of things going for them next year, I would be remiss if I didn't also talk about some negatives that I can see hindering them from reaching their ceiling. The biggest thing that I would like to see in the playoffs is a simplification of their motion offense by including more pick and rolls to take advantage of Steph's on-ball gravity, as they already do a great job of leveraging his off-ball gravity. But I've always felt that there was more to him as a lead creator that he showed under Mark Jackson in a heliocentric role that may be best in specific playoff matchups that he hasn't consistently shown in the Steve Kerr era because he hasn't gotten the opportunity to. In addition, when the Warriors emerged onto the scene in 2014-15 and 2015-16 pre-KD, they had the personnel and scheme advantage as no team had the versatility or switch ability to stop their motion offense during those seasons. And once they got KD, even when teams did have the personnel and started to switch everything like the Rockets did in their playoff matchups against the Warriors in 2018 and 2019, the Warriors had such a massive talent advantage that they were able to overcome any schematic shortcomings or disadvantages. In 2021, mostly due to those dynastic Warrior teams, switching defenses has not only become embraced but accepted, and almost every high-level contender has built a roster based on defensive versatility that can be maximized in the playoffs against player movement-based offenses with elite perimeter creators. I've also never been the biggest fan of Steve Kerr's ability to adjust when he doesn't have a talent advantage. And against teams like the Lakers and Nets who do have a talent advantage over the Warriors, I have questions about if the Warriors have the offensive versatility to beat those teams, or if they are willing to adjust some of their usual offensive principles if the situation calls for it. The next obvious question is how good will Klay Thompson be once he returns from injury? I believe that he will still be an extremely impactful player as his shooting gravity and high IQ won't go anywhere, but their ceiling is extremely dependent on how good he will be once he returns. If he can be a high teen scorer and neutral defender, they'll become very similar to what they were pre-KD, a team with elite top-end talent that fits together seamlessly on both ends while having the perfect mix of high IQ and highly skilled guys as supporting pieces. Overall, though, I believe there is a lot more to like about the 21-22 Warriors than there isn't to like, and I have them finishing 52-30 in the regular season as the 4th seed and making the conference finals. Steph Curry is an all-time great, still peaking, and he's been the offensive engine behind the Warriors dynasty. Draymond is still an all-time defender, and Klay Thompson is still an all-time shooter that drastically improves any offense. The foundations of the 14-15 and 15-16 Warrior teams are still there on both ends, and this offseason they did a great job of rounding out the roster. Now to talk about some of their supporting players, Juan Toscano Anderson is an elite role player that fits into any type of lineup they want to run. Jordan Poole is a player capable of averaging 20 and 5 on a bunch of other teams around the league if he had the opportunity. Andrew Wiggins is a great complementary piece on both ends who has the offensive talent to take over games in the series. Iggy is still an insanely smart player and still an extremely good defender. Bjelica can serve as a hybrid of what Mo Spates and David West provided for the Warriors, as he provides the floor spacing that Mo Spates provided while also offering the passing in both the high post and in the post that David West provided. They have star power, depth, and a system that everyone buys into, which will often allow role players to overachieve, which is crucial in the playoffs. The two biggest X factors for this team are Klay Thompson's health and Jordan Poole. A healthy Klay Thompson is a Hall of Fame level basketball player. There isn't much to talk about. And Jordan Poole's perimeter creation and secondary playmaking next to Steph and Klay make the Warriors pretty easily the most dynamic offense in the West. I think Poole averages something around 16 points and 4 assists this year on 60% true shooting, as the jump he makes this year drastically can change how good this Warriors offense can be. They're the biggest threats to the Lakers, and regardless of their seeding, I believe they separate themselves as the clear second best team in the West later this season when they're fully healthy. A finals appearance isn't out of the realm of possibility if everything clicks. Let me know in the comments how good you predict the Warriors will be this year. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and be on the lookout for my next YouTube video. Peace.